Hello everyone, I am Miss Divya Verma, teacher of Social Science Class 7 Mount Literacy School, Jhansi. So students, in the last two sessions, we had seen some topics of lesson number 4 of history, that is the Mughal Empire. Hope so the last two sessions were clear to you all and you must have read the LR and NCERT book pages as well. Now, let us just quickly revise and then we'll go to the next topic of this chapter. So, in the last two sessions, we have seen who were Mughals, who were the descendants of Mughals, and who were the Mughal rulers like Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Shah Jahan, Jahangir, and Aurangzeb. We had seen about the details of these rulers. Then we had seen another topic, that is Mughal tradition of succession and Mughal relations with other rulers. Okay, then we had seen in the administration part the mansabdars and the jagirdars, the subas, subedars, the zamindars, and the zabt, the revenue system we had seen. Okay, in that we had talked about different officers like Mir Bakshi and many more officers. Then let us we have seen in that the iqtidars and mansabdars difference, like iqtidars of Delhi sultans were different from mansabdars of Mughals. Okay, so understood? Now, let us move forward to the next topic, that is, now today we'll be seeing the Akbar's policies, and before that we'll be knowing about the administrative problems in the reign of Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, and later Mughals. Like in Akbar's reign, the Jagirs were carefully assessed so that their revenues were roughly equal to the salary of the Mansabdar. But by Aurangzeb's reigns, this was no longer the case, and the actual revenue collected was often less than the granted sum. Okay, now then Shah Jahan continued to follow the administrative system started by Akbar, but afterwards problems like poverty and inequalities among the subjects could be seen in the kingdom. Then when Aurangzeb's reign started, Mansabdars faced problem as there was a huge number of increment in the number of Mansabdars. Means he appointed, means Aurangzeb appointed so many Mansabdars, and which lead to the shortage of the Jagirs or the land. And with the shortage of the land, many Jagirdars tried to extract as much revenue possible with their Jagirs. Means अब मनसबदार्स ज़्यादा हो गए हैं एंड जागीर्स कम हो गई हैं, मतलब ज़मीन जिससे रेवेन्यू कलेक्ट होता था वो कम हो गया है. तो what did Jagirdars do? They tried to increase or extract the so much revenue how much it is possible for them. And then Aurangzeb was unable to control these development in the years of his reign, and the peasantry therefore suffered greatly. Okay, so there appeared two classes in each group: artisans, peasants, and mansabdars. All were divided into two groups. Means only 5.6% of the total number of mansabdars received high salary and revenue, and was so high, means that most of the peasants and artisans never had any money to invest tools to increase their productivity. So this was all about the problems faced by the late Mughals. Okay, now let us move to the next topic, that is the Akbar's policy. Let us know what were the famous Akbar's policies, as Akbar is known as the Akbar the Great. Let us see why, how he became so popular and so great. So Akbar was somewhat different from other Mughal rulers like Babur, who discriminated against the Hindus. Humayun was not a bitter persecutor of Hindus, but he never attacked a Muslim ruler. Then Shah Jahan, who issued an order prohibiting employment of Hindus. Then Akbar was somewhat different. He followed liberal ideas and liberal religious policies. Let us see. Akbar started religious discussion when he was at Fatehpur Sikri in 1570s with ulemas, Brahmins, Jesus priests, Zoroastrians. Means he used to look after all the religions, all the religious policies one together. Okay, and the discussions of all the religion together was done at the place Ibadat Khana, which was made by Akbar. Means Akbar built a hall called the Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri, where scholars of all religion met for free and open religious discussions about all the religions. Got it? So now Akbar developed the idea of Sulah e Kul, or the universal peace. Means Akbar religious policy was based on the idea of Sulah e Kul, that is the universal peace, which focused on the system of ethics, honesty, justice, peace, and that were universally applicable. Means that was applicable to all the religions. Clear? And Akbar celebrated certain Rajput and Hindu festivals also, and also greatly respected the Sufi saint Salim Chishti and Ramdas and the fourth Sikh Guru. He granted Guru Ramdas a plot of land in Amritsar on which the Sikh Shrine Sri Harmandir Sahib was later built. The Adi Granth, later known as Guru Granth Sahib, was compiled by the fifth Guru Arjan during Akbar's reign. So means he was following the policy of universal peace, that is the Sulah e Kul. Okay, so this is what about the Akbar's religious policy. Then Akbar combined the best points of different religions into a single faith called Deen-e-Ilahi, or the divine faith. He used to combine all the different religions into a single faith known as Deen-e-Ilahi, and this Deen-e-Ilahi was based on Sufi philosophy, but it borrowed the ideas from all major religions. Okay, so this is what about the Sulah e Kul and Deen-e-Ilahi and all. And the idea of Sulah e Kul, that is universal peace and harmony, was an important part of Deen-e-Ilahi, that is the single faith. In this only Sulah e Kul comes. And at that time only Akbar also realized that religious scholars who emphasized ritual and dogma were often bigots. What is dogma? Dogma is a statement or an interpretation declared as authoritative with the expectation that it would be followed without question. Means whatever was decided, he expects that it would be followed without any question. And bigot for the individual who is intolerant of another person's religious beliefs and culture. Means he was known that there were some intolerant people also who related to the religious beliefs and culture, and the teachings created divisions and disharmony amongst his subject, and this all led Akbar to the idea of Sulah e Kul, or universal peace. So this is all about the Akbar and the Akbar policies, religious policies. Okay, now there was, let us know one more fact, like Akbarnama and Ani Akbari was written. Like Abul Fazl was Akbar's close friend and courtier. He was given the responsibility of writing the history of his reign, and he wrote a 3-volume history of Akbar's reign titled Akbarnama. Volume 1, it dealt with Akbar's ancestors. Volume 2, it recorded the events of Akbar's reign. Volume 3, it is the Ani Akbari, it deals with Akbar's administrations, the geography of its empire, the tradition and culture, about crop yields, prices, wages, and revenues. Okay, so this is all about the Akbars. But what happened in the late Mughals? What happened is, after when Aurangzeb was ruling, I have already told you that Aurangzeb was suspicious and unfriendly by nature, and he attacked many rulers from different areas, and his administration was not proper like other Mughal rulers. So this way, with the Aurangzeb's policy, Mughal empire started declining. Mughals faced too much of loss, and Mughals came to an end. This was all about this chapter, the Mughal Empire. Here the chapter Mughal Empire ends. Go through the video lectures of this chapter again. Go through the NCERT books. Try to fill up the exercises and complete the work given in the PDF files. Okay, thank you.